What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to another night of Q&A. We had this a couple of weeks ago. My name is JJT with Komish. Komish, we've got some news since we last had our Q&A. Trade,
Yes,
actually. Uh,
some trades.
well, was it recent, the Siakam trade to Indiana? That was last week
Yeah,
or 2 weeks
that
ago?
was
Last
last.
week?
Yeah,
Last
last
week.
week I
Last
think.
week.
Last week,
So let's talk
yes.
about that. We'll first talk about some of the things going around the league, but send in your questions. We'll answer them later on. Siakam goes finally traded, and he goes to Indiana, which makes Indiana somewhat of a very interesting team for the playoffs. And then Bruce Brown goes to the Raptors.
Yeah,
At
I
least
think
those
it's
two are the more significant players there.
yeah the more significant players, Bruce Brown and Pascal Siakam. But Bruce Brown, I think they're gonna
Trade
reroute
again.
him somewhere. Yeah, there's plans to do that. So we are not sure yet. When the trade happened, what I thought was it was good for Bruce Brown because he probably would be starting for Toronto. But as far as I've seen, they've not really started him. They've
No,
went with
yeah,
Gary Trent. Yeah, they've went with Gary Trent, and so I guess yeah, Bruce Brown is a big loser here with this trade because at least in Indiana he was starting and getting a bigger role. Now right now it seems like he's just in a wait and see situation.
yeah. And the trade deadline is what, a couple of weeks away? No, less than, yeah,
February
two
8th.
weeks.
February 8th, yes. February
2
8th.
weeks away. So there's going to be, and his name has been swirling around um, already in some
Everywhere.
of the trade room. Yeah, one of the more popular player amongst in the trade rumors. On the flip side, let's talk about Siakam here. Um, I don't see any changes, I guess, for Siakam. Not much.
So far so good. I think it's basically the same. They were 0-3 with Siakam and then they won against I think a while ago against Philadelphia. So his numbers have been mostly the same, no, from Toronto. But I expect it to be up and down, a little lower, but overall I think mostly the same for Siakam. He has not had a chance to play with Tyrese
Yeah,
Halliburton. No, he played a game with Tyrese, but I think if he plays more with Tyrese, I think his numbers will improve. So let's wait for that. No, let's wait for Tyrese to be healthy and they get some chemistry between each other, so that I think that would help his numbers a lot. From now, although now he has Nemhard and McConnell, not that bad point guard, but it's different with Halliburton for sure. The pick
yeah.
and rolls and everything else.
Plus, offensively, Halliburton is more of a threat, so that gives them, that opens up some stuff for Siakam to work with. Unlike, Nemhard and McConnell, they're not as big of an offensive threat than Halliburton.
Something to note about Siakam, no, he averaged 5 assists with Toronto. That's one of his strong points actually as a player is his assist. Today he had a triple double against Philadelphia. 10 assists. The other day 7, no, 4, 7, 10 without Halliburton. So actually, if you're looking at in fantasy sense, it's actually helping him to be more well-rounded without Halliburton because I think they're playing through him a little bit. No, he's helping with some of the offense creation. With Halley, I'm curious to see if that would continue or maybe the scoring would be the one that would be beneficial. So let's see. That would definitely have an impact on his stats and his fantasy value also.
Of course, Halliburton out for maybe another 2 games. He's probably we'll see if he comes back next week. Because like Pamish said in our one of the posts in our Facebook page or in Twitter, I think that's where I read it. This is a bit concerning for Hadi just because I think it's a hamstring, right? Is it a hamstring injury?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah,
it's a grade 1 strain, grade 1 hamstring strain, but it's supposedly 2 weeks. He came back in 11 days, and he played 35 minutes. No, so
yeah,
no signs of any setback during the game. But the rumors were that after the game, he was not that happy about his, I guess, the hamstring. He
yeah.
was not that happy about how it responded during the game, although he had the 21 point 17 assist game, I think that time. So he was shut down for 4 games after that. So far, it's been 4 games
One
already, and
game.
then no,
No,
after
it's
that,
been
after
a
that
couple of
game,
games.
no, this is the third game that he
Third
did not
game.
play. Yeah, third game, but they already shut him down until the next game because they said 3 games and they've played two already. So they have another game that they're not going to play with him. We're not sure after that whether he will come back or not. But hopefully it's not. Well, they termed it as management, so maybe they just want to be more sure that it's 100%. No, I think, I hope
Yeah,
that
and
that's
just
what it
like
is.
any, I think hamstring injuries are one of the trickiest injury. Remember the James Harden scenario, what, a couple of years ago, right? When he was in Brooklyn, it's one of the trickier injuries wherein you might think it's okay and then you play through it and then it acts up again. So hopefully it won't be long term. Hopefully that's the hope here.
Honestly, I don't think it will be. Or maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I think they are very cautious. Only, I think they're just being very, very, very cautious. I don't think he felt any pain with the hamstring or anything, but it was
Yeah,
just maybe not that loose. Sometimes
yeah,
it tightens
might
up a
keep
little bit.
tight.
So
Yeah,
there, this is good for me. This is good because it will allow him. Plus, there's an All-Star break. I think, although it's in Indiana, actually that doesn't work in his favor because I'm sure he's gonna be very busy during the
yeah,
All-Star break, being the host. No, he's gonna play.
and he is a
Usually,
starter.
he's a starter, and usually the player who is an All-Star in his own city usually gets the most minutes, and they'll try to give him the MVP. No, they try to give him most minutes, the most usage, most chances to get those stats. So, but if it's not that okay, maybe they take it easier on him. So there's a break there. There's an All-Star break there. So I think he'll be fine. I
Yeah.
think he'll be fine. But what's
Um,
interesting in this situation is who's been stepping up. Because when he went down, TJ McConnell's just fly. We know that this is usually what how it is. TJ McConnell,
he's the usual pickup.
yes, and people use the number one waiver on him and everything. And then when Halley came back earlier than expected, people dropped McConnell, and then Halley got shut down again. So the people added and added. It's been all McConnell. Nobody's talked about Nemhard.
Who's played
Uh,
well
yes, and Nemhard is the one who's
without.
starting. Nemhard is the one who's
Yeah,
starting and who's the one who's playing well. So he's been
and
overlooked.
then yeah, he's been overlooked, and the minutes for McConnell has been shaky as well. It's not consistent. It's not as consistent as what we fantasy managers you get used to, right, or want. So I think that should, not really a concern, but because even in like 20 22 minutes, McConnell still gets his stock his numbers, at least, but not as
Actually,
good as what we hope for.
yes, yes. It's not been the same, no, for TJ.
Yeah,
The thing here, though, surprising for me is I knew Nemhard will start. I knew Nemhard will start because before
everyone
last
knew
season,
Nemhard would start,
no, but they haven't. Nemhard was
except
out of
for
the
I think the one game. I think there were a couple of games where Nemhard got injured
was
as well.
injured, yes, but
Yeah,
Nemhard was out of the rotation when Hadi got hurt. So I wasn't really sure they're gonna start him, but they did start him before last season when Hadi got hurt. But last season, the minutes breakdown between Nemhard and McConnell isn't like this season because if you look at the minutes of Nemhard versus McConnell, it's been mostly 28 to 20 or 27 to 21, mostly like that. So that's big because that's 6 more minutes. That is usually the other way around. So that
yeah,
is the reason why Nemhard is so far when Halley is out, is averaging around 13, 14 points, around 6 assists. Those are and maybe a steal. So those are very very good numbers already, especially since he was available even when they announced that Hadi was going to be out for 3 games, because he was questionable also going into
Yeah.
that in that
And
stretch.
he's not a popular pick. I've seen
Yes,
him
yes,
being dropped after the one game that I think after the first game or the second game that Halliburton was out. So I was able to pick him up for this back to back in a few leagues. I'm not just talking about one league wherein, some manager dropped him, but there are like two, three leagues wherein I was able to snag him there. So he's not a popular pick, but I haven't really seen much of the TJ McConnells being dropped. And to think that the past few games hasn't been as good for him. So yeah, he's not
yes.
as popular as the TJ McConnell, but don't get too
And
attached, I guess, to McConnell.
Indiana had the best schedule for me this week, week
Yeah,
14. And actually, they have the best schedule, a preview of week 15. They also have the best schedule for week 15. Streaming wise and quantity wise, they have 4 games on week 15, and there's only 2 quality days. They have games on both quality days. So, yeah, that's why Indiana is a really intriguing team. There's so many pieces there that's a high upside pieces like Ness. We haven't talked about Neesmith, Maturin, those
yeah.
guys have value for these 2 weeks. For these 2 weeks, they have some value there because of the schedule.
Um, I personally probably wouldn't drop McConnell or Nemhard,
No?
even if Halliburton comes back for a game, just to see
Yes,
where that goes. Because, like I said, hamstring injuries can be tricky. He might play a game and then miss another one, right? I mean, we don't know. So just hold until maybe Halliburton plays 3, 4 games straight.
that's true.
Um, I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to do it for those players because they're gonna be valuable in the next week as well. Another trade, the more recent one. Wait, let's talk about the Barrett quickly. Barrett quickly for OG,
Yeah,
right?
Barrett quickly
OG's
for
been a big difference maker for the Knicks. This was earlier than the Siakam Bruce Brown trade. We
I
haven't
think
really talked much about that.
I think we have seen already with so many games already under their belt, no? We have seen what how the trade has helped each
Yeah,
all those players. Quickly, obviously, Barrett also. I'm not a. I'm on record for a lot of seasons already that I'm not a Barrett fan. He's really, really very overrated fantasy player because of the poor field goal, the no stocks, and then very inefficient. Shooting wise, not only field goal, even free throws. But in Toronto, the usage is good. He's been playing well. Now, is it a sell high? That's what people are saying. Do you trust that he will do this for the rest of the season? At first, I said no, but given where Toronto is heading, I think they might give Barrett the keys to
yeah.
to
Plus, he's Canadian.
he's Canadian. It's his hometown. No, it's his hometown,
Yeah,
so there's a different motivation and inspiration to perform. But more than that, I think the usage is really what's intriguing to me. Quickly, of course, we know I'm a fan of Quickly. I have a lot of IQ in my team, so I knew that this would really help him. Although he's injured right now, but I think it's minor. He might miss 1 or 2 games, but if he's healthy, he should be fine. But OG is the guy we should talk about. I don't
yeah.
know what your
Oh,
take is here. If you own OG, 40 plus minutes a game, yeah, he's been hot.
well,
1.8
it's a
steals.
Thibodeau type of
Are you
situation,
worried
right? That's
about it? No? Are you going to be worried about it? Because he's playing a lot of minutes. Really a lot of minutes. This is PBA import kind of minutes that he's been playing in an NBA. No? So,
well,
I don't know.
really not. I can't say I'm worried about it. I'll be the thing I'm worried about is the inconsistency still in the stats because that's what OG has been. He's been good, but the consistency is still up and down points wise. But the defensive numbers are there, so that's okay.
Well,
Um,
actually, it's funny you said that because at least we're seeing a little bit more consistency now that he's in New York because of the minutes, though. As you said, he's averaging 1.8 steals, 1.2 blocks, 1.8 three-pointers. This is in New York. This is in New York.
yeah,
In very good shooting splits. I I I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's fine the rest of the season. Even if he misses a lot, even if he has games where he misses his shots, his shots are not falling. Just a sheer number of steals and blocks and rebounds that he
yeah.
can get
What the
from
other day he
those
had
minutes.
six, right?
S-
The other,
Today he had
oh yeah,
six
today.
steals, six
So I
steals. He has
think
had
OG. I if you compare it to the Toronto OG to the versus the New York OG, I think fantasy managers would still
very happy.
prefer the New York OG
Of course.
than the Toronto.
My question is more of, are you gonna trade him because of you think this is gonna cause an injury? Because come on, I don't know how old he is, but it's just not sustainable to play 40 something minutes
No,
the
he's
rest of the year.
relatively young. I think
But well, yeah, but I
not 18, 20 young, but he's relatively young.
but if you remember, Luol Deng had this kind of workload under Tibbs during the
Uh,
Derrick Rose era, and he was able to finish seasons before his body gave out. So I think OG will be fine this season. Maybe next season we're not sure, but
yeah,
for this season he
yeah,
should be.
yeah. Besides, it's just half a season so far. Shout out to Joao Pablo.
Yeah,
It's been a while since we saw Joao here, but thank you
he
for
doesn't need
watching.
us. He doesn't need us because he's number one in all his leagues and he's
Yes, for
kind
sure.
of cruising. He's cruising.
All right, let's run through the questions. Tyus Jones and Walker Kessler. Is Walker Kessler a drop at this
No,
point?
no. I actually posted also the other day about Walker Kessler. Yeah, I know when I say he's top 90, 85 or 86 this season, you will say, so what? I mean, and we don't feel the rankings. We don't feel
Yeah,
those rankings. But my point of view there is in Roto, that is correct because that is a Roto rank. In head to head, I guess if you're really contending in blocks, rebounds, field goal, that's your build. Then it's valuable. But if he's your only blocker and your field goal is like middle, not really good, not really bad, he's gonna be not that important to you.
valuable. Yeah,
Yeah, not that important, not that valuable. So it depends really on how you use him. So if you instead of dropping him, I think there will be teams that would be better for him. Maybe you can just shop him.
he still has trade value. I don't see any Walker Kessler drop at any league, whether it's a
Yeah.
12 or even a 10 team league.
It's
Ha-
frustrating. I get it.
yeah, very frustrating, especially if you drafted him to anchor your rebounding and blocks,
Uh,
right? Just well,
I
initially,
guess.
like I know you were not high on him, or
Yeah,
you
I
felt
wasn't.
like
I wasn't.
he was being drafted too high. Um, but we were hoping for at least what Nick Claxton numbers, or at least close to that,
Basically,
right?
basically, he has become a one stat guy, which is blocks. That's why
A
he stopped still
specialist,
a specialist. That's why he's top 90, top 85 players still because of just those numbers blocks. And
but
that's
it's been worse right now because the minutes have really gone down.
before today, in fairness, before today's minutes were at least in the 20s, no? 23, 24. In those minutes, I think he can get to the 8 rebounds, 2 to 3 blocks range. Now, if managers want him to play 30 to 30 minutes every night, I don't think it will happen this season. It will not. It
Even
will not
later
happen.
on,
No, I don't think it will. Right now, they are in number 9, I think, 9 or 10, or even reaching number 8 in the standings. They've been playing well.
yeah,
And Will Hardy's a good coach. There's a reason why he's not playing Kessler a lot of minutes. No, John Collins is starting at center. And John Collins actually works for them because of the switchability of
yeah.
John Collins. He's a small, not that small, but small ball center with a little bit better what you call switch ability. So it fits.
Defensively,
Yeah,
he can
defensively
switch more. Yeah,
and offensively, he's somebody who can shoot a three.
yeah.
You
He's
know,
more agile. He's more versatile when it comes to defending different positions. He can at least be decent in guarding faster players.
and you know why Utah has turned their season around. Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, they've
Yeah,
been scoring, shooting. They've just been doing a lot, very well offensively. And that is Simone Fontecchio, another guy who's starting. So you can see where this is going. I mean, Utah's offense is really been the reason why they've turned it around. And Walker Kessler, sorry, but he cannot help there. So as
yeah.
Jeremy said,
Well,
he's become a
this is
specialist.
Walker Kessler has become the play of Gobert in Utah,
Uh, in a way,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
in a way.
in a way, he's been a liability, and this is funny because last year people were talking about him being the right decision over Gobert, and right now Gobert has
Yes.
been playing really well, and I've heard that he might get that defensive player, at least one of the top contenders for the defensive player of the year once again. And Walker Kessler is nowhere to be found. Tyus Jones, another player being asked here by Renz Shi. Your
Tyus
thoughts on Tyus Jones? Tyus Jones has been great.
Tyus Jones has been solid. I don't know what the question exactly is about, but
Maybe moving forward, is he just a sell high at this moment? Um,
um,
with the
quite
concerns about Washington tanking,
to
maybe
be
they might
honest,
sit him.
I do not know if they're gonna trade him or not. With nobody, they can they can easily just keep him, no, in Washington. So it's hard to answer that question, but I think Tyus Jones will be fine. For the most part, even if he gets traded, no, I think his numbers will be fine. If he stays in
If he gets
Washington,
traded, I think it might be better for him.
I think so. Just for the reason that at least the risk is out, no, remove the
The
risk, but
tanking risk, yeah.
tanking risk. But the chances of him getting traded for me is low. For me, because I don't unless the team that will trade for him will really give up maybe a very enticing package. But I think it's lower chances. I think Washington is more concentrated on trading Kuzma and Jordan Poole. No, these two guys, and even Gafford more than Tyus Jones. But of course, there's still a chance that they trade him.
All right, here's a question. Um, he was offered Kobe White and Chet for Jimmy Butler, who's another but disappoint. Well, not really disappointing, but
Well, you know what Jimmy can give you.
no, this year has been worse for Jimmy because the
I
numbers
don't know.
aren't
I
there.
don't.
The
I
numbers
don't have
aren't there.
Jimmy. I've
I
learned
have a
my
few.
lesson.
I have a few.
I've learned my lesson with Jimmy
The
Butler.
numbers aren't even there. And that's worse, I think worse. And now with Rozier, oh, we haven't talked about Rozier, but now with Rozier in Miami, I think they will probably, give Butler a lesser workload, um, and get him ready for the playoffs. But let's go through this first. Offering Kobe White and Chet for Butler and Gobert.
Offered Kobe and Chet. I I
Punting
probably
points, free throw, and threes.
hmm. If you're
Punting
punting points, free
points,
throws,
free
and
throws, and
threes,
threes.
I'd probably keep Butler and Gobert, no?
Yeah,
If you're punting those category. Kobe has been great, but he's not really good with the steals part. He's okay. He's okay with the steals, but his strength really has been the points and the assists. Now that's
yeah,
where he is strong. And if you're
and
punting points, yeah, I'd rather go with Gobert there. I'd rather go with Gobert.
yeah. And then another trade question here from Miguel Samaniego. Trading Lamelo, AD, Cam Johnson, and Lavine, and receiving Curry, Harrison Barnes. No, it's not a good deal.
Receiving Curry, Harrison Barnes, Cole, and Kuzma. Trading Lamelo,
I mean,
AD.
Yeah,
I know
Lamelo AD for
I
Curry.
know I know Lamelo. We have talked about him also a lot. I have posted a lot about Lamelo being a very risky, one of the sell players really. Obviously, I mean if you watch Charlotte,
But for this,
yeah. But for this is not the trade that you probably would want for Lamelo because you're also giving up AD, and I mean Levine and Cam Johnson are not useless players. Also, I mean they have value, although they have been also disappointing for in their
for
own
the
right.
most
They're
part,
also
yeah.
but the players you're getting, Cole Anthony is a drop.
Harrison Barnes,
Harrison
I've been seeing in the
Barnes,
free agent pool in a
you
14
know
team
why
league.
he scored 39 today? Maybe the owner is trying to sell him high
Sell,
because
yeah.
if you haven't followed Harrison Barnes' career, we've been making a joke out of him for a lot of seasons already. Even if he gets 30 again the next game, you'll definitely be sure that will be just a 1 or 2 game thing. It will just disappear. So Cole Anthony Harrison Barnes are basically drops.
Yeah.
Kuzma has a very big risk factor also of being rested and load managed if he doesn't get traded from Washington. So you're
So
basically left with Curry.
and
So
the players you're
so
giving up are too much. This is too much.
yeah,
I think even maybe Lamelo and Levine for Curry might work. I don't know.
AD is number 3 by the way in the ranks this year.
Yeah, I
Maybe
wouldn't
you're
trade
afraid
AD.
of his injury risk, but I mean it
Curry
hasn't
hasn't
happened yet.
even. I know I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of Curry, but Curry hasn't even been playing as well.
He's
He
not.
played well today, but he's not the youth old
He's not
Curry.
he's not a top 10 guy this year so far. So far, I'm not saying it will not happen, but it's hard because his team is just in a flux right now and they're struggling. So
They're
why
struggling.
take the
They're
risk?
finding the right combination. They're trying to get everyone involved. So
This trade is an example of trading your risky player for riskier players. So if you want to sell those players, I think get something back that will be different from what you're offering, which is like more stability, more different from trading risky players. No, so Lamelo is still playing.
actually,
There's still time.
if this is a league vote type of trade, I don't think this will pass though.
Yeah,
As
it
well,
will probably be
this will
vetoed
not
also.
pass. This will not pass. So yeah, there. Let's see. How about this from Cyril Alzate? Podzimski. We're folding in 14
Uh,
team.
I a lot of questions about pods, no. But I've said that in 16 team I'll try to hold, but in 14 team I'm okay to drop.
Yeah.
He's more of a stash at this point, but more of a drop. But I did say that I think eventually he will get back his value, but I don't know when that will happen. So better to drop him now. Just pick him up later.
Yeah. Drop. I've seen him in a lot of 14 team head to head. So yeah, I think safe to say to drop him, and then I'm pretty sure no one will take him. And if someone takes him, I'm pretty sure they're just taking him just as a streamer or what, not really for long term. Fantasy Point Zone from Twitter or from X is asking, my worst player in ESPN 10 team points are Nick Richards, Quickly, Caruso, and Kessler. Who is droppable?
Kessler for sure. Points league,
Yeah.
Kessler. We just mentioned his value is in blocks, and in points league that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I mean, he doesn't rebound as much as well these days.
yeah.
So if he doesn't get to like 15, 13 rebounds, he's not gonna give you any points.
Actually, Nick Richards is also in the same boat, but maybe I don't know about Mark Williams. No, I don't know if he's coming back. So
All right,
if he doesn't,
I've seen a lot of Mark Williams being dropped
yeah,
already.
I will. I dropped my Mark Williams already. I dropped it because I have so many injuries. I dropped him already. I'm not sure he's coming back before the All Star break. That's number one. I think that he'll not come back before the All Star break. March maybe, but by that time, I don't know where Charlotte is, what their record is. Remember, it happened. I don't know last season or 2 seasons ago. He did come back. It is the same situation. He got injured for so long, and he came back at least around last few weeks of the season. But that was already playoff time, and he was not even playing every game, and he was not even playing his regular minutes. So that might happen again now. No? So I'd rather, just drop Mark Williams. So I think Richards is better than Kessler rest of the season. In points league,
Uh,
in points.
all right. How about this? Renald Renald Felicieta said he traded Lamelo and Brogdon for Yanis.
Yeah, that's the trade. I
This is
will
the
I
type
will
of trade of for
Yeah.
the other guy a while ago, Miguel Angelo Samaniego. You
This
don't have
is
to trade everyone all at once in a package. This a Lamelo Brogdon for Yanis could work. Um,
and it's a very very good example. If you're teaching someone how to sell a player that you need to sell, this is an example of
yeah,
a trade. Because Brogdon is it's a smart use of Brogdon, who's playing very well because he's being showcased by Portland for a possible trade, which I'm very very confident he will be traded to a contending team. So the value of Brogdon is inflated, and he was able to use that to get Yanis. So that is very very smart way of going about a trade, packaging someone who's so hot with a risky player, to get someone who's safer in
yeah.
Yanis.
And this is also an example of what the value of a player like Lamelo could be, right? Like
Yes,
in the trade that you mentioned a while ago, the one by Miguel, the value of Lamelo is very low there because you also gave away AD, right? So technically, it's a very low value of. So this is an example for you of how high can Lamelo be. Of course, not every you can't you can't try to trade. You probably not the Yanis manager probably won't accept this one. It really depends on the league and the needs of certain managers, but at least the value you could already see what value you could get or what type of value you could get for a player like
easier said
Lamelo.
than done. I agree with
Yeah,
Jeremy.
it's easier. Yeah, I mean, it's this might look. Yeah, we're saying that this is a good trade, but to get this deal done is not as easy as
And
it looks,
remember,
or
everybody
not as easy
everybody
as
knows
what Renald made it look.
everybody knows everything right now. They know that Lamelo is a risky player to own. So it's really hard to just sell him because people know what you're doing. So you have to be, I guess smarter in packaging deals with involving Lamelo.
Um, Joao has a question. Mikal and Kamje, any chance to still reach preseason projections?
None. You know what we thought about Mikal and Cam J, especially Mikal. Remember when he was being picked? I think sometimes he was being picked 13, 14, and then when people started to realize that's too high, it went down to 18, 19, 20,
I
21.
think
Then
that was still too high.
yes,
Higher
yes.
than 20. I think it was still too high.
Even in the 20s, we were both saying that I think that's just high for Mikal. I think he's really more in the 30s kind of player. And even in that range, he has not even reached that point yet. So if you're talking 30s, I think he can reach that. But if you're talking the top 20, I don't think that will happen for Mikal, no, this season.
Cam Johnson has been a little bit of a disappointment
Overrated.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
this year I know I was a little high, not of course not Mikal high, but around the 80s high on Cam Johnson, but just the consistency isn't there. There's just something about the
Injuries.
Nets for injuries and
He,
consistency as well.
he got injured when he came back. He just could not find his game. He just couldn't find the consistency, and he's basically a 3-point shooter who, I don't know, makes a little bit more, steals, maybe rebounds because he's big, but mostly 3-point shooting. And if it's not falling, like right now, it's not falling. It's tough. It's tough for Cam Johnson.
All right. Thoughts on wait. Let's do this first. Joa, another question. Curry and Chet for Embiid Simons.
And that I assume that's Anferny Simons.
Yeah,
I would probably go with the Curry Chet thing. I love. I look at it as those are both top 20 players. Probably even top 15. Okay, let's put it at top 15. Maybe two first round possible first rounders. Oh, Embiid is good. I know that. We know that, but he's still risky. I mean, we know the injury history with Embiid. Simons, I'm not that big of a fan this year. Uh, Even in the draft. And now in Portland, whatever Portland is doing right now, I'm not sure also, like Lamelo,
Yeah,
till when Simons will be playing, how often he will be playing. So I'd rather go with the Curry shit. Because Curry has to play. They're trying to get to.
they're
They're
trying to
trying
get
to
there,
get.
trying to
Yes,
win.
yes, and even Chet, because OKC is trying to
It's the
contend
number
also.
one seed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
there. Renshi, will a trade be better for Dilo? Well, right now everything's better for Dilo. Dilo's been playing really well. I'm not
I
sure
mean,
if
right
the
now,
Lakers are showcasing, yeah, right now. But the question is, if he gets traded, would that be a better fantasy wise for him? Well, it really depends on where he goes. If he goes to a team that's not really contending, if he goes to that mediocre teams, because one player has been mentioned is the Dejounte Murray trade, right? And I'm pretty sure D'Lo might be included in that. If he goes to Atlanta, it's not going to be good for
I
him.
don't think
I don't think
Atlanta
he.
wants him. The
They're
rumors
looking
are
for a
that
third team, right?
yes, they're looking for a third team. So I don't think he lands in Atlanta, even in a DeJounte trade. The third team might be Brooklyn. I'm just saying, the only team that I'm thinking of that has really been
Then that
rumored,
might be good for him because he's
that might
had
be good
good,
for him.
yeah,
That might be good for him. Plus the fact that he came from Brooklyn before, there's some
yeah.
familiarity
And he
already
played
there.
well
So
in Brooklyn. That's
he
where
played well
he
in
became an
Brooklyn.
all star.
That is why I think Brooklyn might be thinking about, hey, let's upgrade the Dinwiddie position to, let's say, D'Lo.
Yeah.
And D'Lo can play. I mean, D'Lo's getting bad reps, bad rap. But I mean, yeah, he has lots of some bad games here and there. But overall,
It's
he's
just
been doing
hard. It's
good.
just hard to play in LA. That's it. I think the the expectations are too high sometimes for certain players. But he's been playing well recently,
But last 5 games, it's been
balling.
it's been
Yeah.
balling. Yeah.
Shout out to Rock as well.
I think the question a while ago was Nurkic. No,
Oh yeah, Nurkic.
I'm fine with Nurkic. I don't see any reason why his value will change rest of the
How
season.
about how about the other player he was traded for, DeAndre Ayton, who said he doesn't have to prove he's a max player. Another big disappointment.
Um, well, I've said what I already wanted to say about DeAndre Ayton. I think we forgot, or I overlooked the fact that maybe he doesn't have the right motivation or right mindset this season. No, coming to this season, I just feel like he doesn't have the heart to play. I just
What? I don't get that. I here's the thing. I don't think he is. He He should be expected to be the main guy in the team. I'm not sure if it's the fit important. I don't understand. He can't. He's not consistently rebounding. The scoring isn't there. I don't know. Just the frustration is. He's had
no,
good
because
games. Don't get me wrong. He's had good
yeah,
games, but there are a lot of bad games too, and
I
really
think
bad
he had
ones.
18 and 16 the other day, the last game. So the consistency is not there, and it just is because again, Portland is all over the place. No, I don't know. They've been better than the Detroit's, Washington, but still, they're kind of not in the right. They're not contending, so definitely maybe the rotations are all over the place. And Aiton, foul trouble. That's a big problem with him. He has had a lot of foul trouble problems. And means sometimes you watch the first half, he gets 5 minutes, 6 minutes because he's got two fouls, three fouls right away. And that's gonna affect his stats. That's gonna affect his stats also. So that's number one. I thought he got that out of his system already. He's matured, but I guess not. Number two, the motivation. He's been used to playing for a contending team. Maybe now he's in a team that is going nowhere. So maybe he's just his mind is not into it. His heart is not into it. So yeah, stay away.
Yeah. Here's another question. AD for Franz Wagner and Sengun. Another trade question. 11 cat. That's a lot of categories. I
I don't
don't
know
know
what
what
the
they left.
other. Yeah, I don't know what the other two cats are.
But I think
Um,
you'll still get more for ED in this, right? Franz Wagner
but
and Sengun.
I like Sengun. I've been also hyping Sengun a lot, but AD is AD. As I said, top three, top four guy. If this is 11 cat, I would assume one another
A
category there
double
would be
double maybe.
maybe double double or maybe offensive rebounds. Maybe. I'm not sure, but I guess AD also helps you with there. Although Sengun also helps there, but overall, it's just a little lacking, no, for AD.
Um,
Wagner,
we've said it before. A player like AD, like Kumish said, who is what currently top three, top four, let's say top five, right? At least get a first rounder there. Add a first rounder
well,
instead
that's
of
how I.
Wagner, right? And then
Uh,
maybe add a kicker player who's hot right now.
I don't think if they made the first rounder plus Sengun, the owner will agree. But maybe two Sengun and another player, maybe in the top, maybe a Paul George, something like that. Maybe that will be
Yeah.
better. Something like
Instead
that, and
of
then you add.
Wagner, upgrade the Wagner if you want. We want good. I mean, Commission and I in this, you know, three-player trade. We want good. If you really want good, we probably change Wagner to a higher tiered player. So a player maybe who is there in the second round or you know, second round value or late first round value, maybe, right?
Yeah. The two additional categories is important. Offensive rebounds wise, Sengun is better in offensive rebounds than AD. So that's a little context there. Plus, of course, it's a 14 team league. So depth is also important. So maybe, but still you can maybe do better.
Yeah. Here's a question from John Miguel. Nine cat to head 20 team, no IL. Should I add Conchar? Hang at third. Who to drop?
Nine cat head to head 20 team is a very deep league, I guess. Conchar in a very deep league is fine,
Could
but
be
who to
valuable.
drop? I think at this point he's valuable. He's starting for the Grizzlies, so it is valuable. He's third though, and I would not drop Cade, Halley, Mobley, Bottle Fultz, Abdihan,
How about
Okongwu,
Dennis Smith
Jalen.
Jr.?
Maybe Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah, the player I would probably drop here is either Nance or Dennis Smith Jr. But or Dunn, no, the three of them. But I like Dunn because he's at least doing the steals, the assists are there,
Assist.
although not very low end also. So I guess DSJ, Ben Simmons is coming back.
Yeah,
So I think that's our segue to the Ben Simmons thing.
yeah,
I think Ben Simmons coming back will hurt DSJ a lot. Ben Simmons plays some point forward. He hurts Dinwiddie, hurts DSJ, he hurts DFS. Dorian Finney-Smith. He hurts these players. So I think I'd probably go with Conchar and drop DSJ.
all right. How about this? Miguel, who's been trading Lamelo for Paulo
Not
Vaquero.
enough.
Too low, not enough.
You
Give a
know,
name for Lamelo.
You know what's funny? Remember, I had a trade in our FBW league. Paolo Banchero for Jabari Smith.
Yeah,
Paolo for Jabari and WCJ. It's Paolo Horford for WCJ Banchero, and it was vetoed.
yeah,
It was vetoed, no. And actually, if you look at their ranks, Jabari is ranked higher than Paolo Banchero.
yeah. Because I think Paulo, he is not a nine cat type of player, but
Not
his
yet.
numbers are his numbers can impress you in the sense that he can score a lot, he can rebound more than what you're expecting, right? If a player goes double double, for example, even if the other categories are like zero, you'll probably be wowed. There's a wow factor to some managers about him. But ranks
Yes.
wise in 9 cat, he is not a 9 cat player, right? But since he gives you a good amount of points, and he's not bad at field goal, he's not too bad. He's not gonna be killing you that much, right? So I
Um,
think maybe the free throws, but I get, like I said, if he gives you like a double double from time to time, you know, some
let's
managers will
look
be
at,
impressed, right?
okay, 138 is his rank. No, last season he was not even in the top 200 as far as I remember. But yeah, he's averaging 22.7 rebounds, four assists, 5 assists, 1 steal. So those are very good numbers. Point 0.6
Yeah,
blocks. So at those, the volume has increased, no, in his numbers. But into what Jeremy has said, he's averaging 3.5 turnovers. He's averaging 45% field goal and
yeah,
69% free throw. So
yeah. But
so
when you look at the counting stats, you're gonna be impressed without looking at the efficiency stats.
he's actually more of not a roto guy. No, yeah, I get that he 9 cat. He also maybe not that valuable as what people believe he is. But if you're punting one of those, maybe
Yeah,
field goal or free throw, he jumps high. -1 cat. Let's say minus field goal. Just keep the free throws or minus, maybe even minus both. For some players. So at least in 9 cat you can make it work. But in roto, not that much. But he's always overrated and overranked, I guess.
yeah.
And
Um,
going back to our trade, the reason it was offered to me. The reason why I pursued it is because I have Trey Young there. I have my team is basically very inefficient and very poor in field goals and free throws. Funny, but that's how it is. So I think, yeah, sure, Banquero works. I would just try to kill the opponent with the points, with the rebounds, with the
yeah,
assists, and all those things. So that's the reason why. That is an example of sometimes Banquero will be fit for your team. No, so it depends. But in Roto, he's certainly nah,
not a good player. Oh,
yeah,
going back to this trade, too low.
too
I
low,
think
too low.
Banquero is too low. Give out a name. Do you
For
think
Lamelo,
Lamelo for
you
Paul
know,
George too high?
yeah, I won't say, yeah, that I think it's too high, but if you can do it, then go. I mean, aim for the aim for the stars. I mean, Paul George, yes, I would happily
Lamelo
happily
for
give.
Cat too high
Yeah, I will
still.
do that also. No, that's not too high. I'll be doing that. Eh, I think what you should do right now is, if Lamelo fits your team well, maybe try to get somebody who can also help your team, because I'm not sure if Cat
Will help
it
you.
will fit your team. Yeah, it will help your team. So it depends really. If Melo doesn't fit your team that well, maybe look for a team that might you know might be better with Lamelo. Let's say a team that has Trey Young.
Mm.
Maybe they're already down with field goals and assists, and then having Lamelo will put them over the top in those categories where Trey is strong. So I think those are the strategies that you can do.
All right. Ezra Jordan. So thoughts on Stewart, Bagley, and Merrill. I like Merrill. I've added Merrill.
Yeah, I like Merrill. I
I
mean, the
mean,
guy
I
the
mean,
guy can shoot.
can shoot, and he's not like the Kisper type who just shoots, right? He can, he does some rebounding, which helps, um, right? So plus he just picked him off the waiver, so I think that helps as well.
For Merrill, it's as simple as ride him until the wheels fall off kind of situation, because it's free, but you're not gonna be attached. If he's like Duncan Robinson was hot for a couple of weeks ago. Now he's droppable because they got Rozier and everybody else are healthy. Same thing with Merrill. I think Garland is already starting 3-on-3 practices. Starting to get contact drills already. So he's coming back. He's coming back maybe next week. When he comes back and Levert is there, I'm not too sure how many minutes Merrill will get. No, so he will be a drop then. But for now, yeah, use him. But for the rest of the season, I don't think he will be able to be more than a specialist. And in a specialist kind of situation, it's inconsistent specialist. Sometimes 5-3, sometimes 0, sometimes 7, sometimes 1, something like that.
Yeah,
Bagley, I'm intrigued, no, because even with Gafford coming back, Bagley has had double doubles. I think every game he's played with Washington, mostly, if not, just one game without a double double. Washington we know is gonna be tanking, and Bagley is gonna give you the popcorn stats. If you're in a deep league, that might be enough. No, but watch out for the percentages. Watch out for the percentages. He is sneakily bad in. He can give you a 0 out of 5, 2 out of 7 in free throws. But overall, he's a 70% shooter. But there are games where he's just goes, I don't know, misses maybe 4 or 5 of his free throws. So, and he's not a good field goal guy for a center. So watch out for those. But if you can, you know, take that on, then yeah, Bagley is okay.
And
Stewart,
Stewart,
uh, yeah, Stewart is okay. I think he's a low end player that will be consistent the rest of the season for me. I don't think there will
yeah,
be
what you
highs and
get
lows.
right now for Stewart, I think that's it.
Yeah, and he's a the good thing about him is the 3 pointers this year. I like that he has improved his 3 point shooting. He basically is a low end center, a punt block center. Yeah, put it that way. Punt block
Uh,
center.
all right. Okay. Ezra is also asking, who do you think should he trade away? No IL, no IL plus 14 team. I am assuming it's 14 team and not 114.
Yeah.
9 cat, pot assist. Uh, it's hard. This is so he's
Uh
got
okay. SGA, Fox, Simmons, Burks, Vince Williams, Neesmith, Pat Will, Miles Bridges, Isaiah Hartenstein, AD Jabari, Santi Brolo. Okay. Punt assists. SGA has the assists, but actually even in a punt assist build, I'm gonna keep SGA.
yeah.
He's that good. No, he's that good of a player that his value is not just with assists. Maybe Fox. No, if I think because the others really do not have that much value. You're not gonna trade AD. Jabari fits your build.
Miles have value.
Miles has value, especially in a punt assist build. He's also okay. In a punt assist build, your worry really is that your free throws are gonna be bad. No, because you'll be employing a lot of bigs or
Mhm.
lots of shoot point guards who uh
Who
maybe
score scoring
yeah,
point
who scores, who
guards.
scores. So I think uh you have to look for players like maybe who's
Bricks
this,
like bricks,
something like that.
right? Like bricks who just scores
No scores, yeah. I
and
think
maybe rebound.
Fox is the guy there that could have some value, for in a punt assist build. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, he is. He's also the most probably one of the more enticing players to get when you're talking to someone. Like if you're gonna trade players to me, he's probably one of the guys that I'll be asking about, right? Him, maybe Miles, maybe Hartenstein and Brolo. I think those are the
Um,
players.
I was just saying free throws. No, Fox is a very poor free throw shooter. If you're punting assists already, that you're down with assists, and then your free throws, Fox pulls it down. That might be two categories already that hurts you. He's 70 something percent only. So maybe actually if Bane wasn't injured, Bane would have been a good fit for this team. No, Desmond Bane. But he's injured. So yeah, probably look for another player to get no for the Aaron.
All
Maybe
right.
Rozier. I don't know.
Rozier, your thoughts on the Rozier trade?
Yeah,
Good for Rozier.
bad for Rozier, bad for everybody in Miami. Fantasy wise, of course. In real life, that was, a no-brainer trade. Really, they just gave up Lowry and one first round pick. But in fantasy, adding a high usage guy like Rozier, of course, it's bad for Hero, bad for Duncan Robinson. Who I said is a drop. So Hackes, we don't know, but I think it's gonna hurt him also. He played a lot of on ball, creating. all those stuff.
Yeah.
Because Butler was also hurt. Butler is there, Rozier is there. Not too sure he's gonna get enough usage anymore. So bad for everybody.
Uh, KD and D'Lo for Halley and Reeves.
I'd go Hallie and no. I go KD. Surprisingly, I go KD and D'Lo. KD's okay. Hallie, I like Hallie, but I'm really down on Reeves. I don't know. I hope he gets traded. The opposite with D'Lo, I think it's better just stays in LA. But with Reeves, I think he just has to get away from LA. Get maybe his own.
I think Reeves' value is also overrated. I think he's
Yeah.
been. I don't see why people are so high on him. He's like what, third or fourth option. He doesn't. He's not a scorer. He's just an all-around utility who can score a little bit more.
Yeah. And in
No
LA,
defensive stats. That's
and
another
he's
thing.
been it's really bad defensively. Not just in fantasy, in real life, he's being targeted all the time. No. So actually, it's a very even trade. It depends on your team build. I'm okay with this overall. I think it's a fair deal. Maybe for me, maybe KD Dilo a little bit, but it depends. Maybe if you're challenging assists, looking for assists, the Halley Reeves really works for you. So it just depends on that, I guess.
Yeah. Is Schroeder a drop? There was one question here. I just-
I don't know what team.
16
How?
team, 16 team,
No,
9 can.
I'll keep him. I'll keep him. 16 team. I'll still keep him.
All right. Carl Villa, this is interesting as well. Rest of the season, Osar, Villa, Koulibaly, and Scoot. Scoot has been up and down. Osar has been,
Scoot
well,
is a Trojan horse. I mean, it seems like, he will get big usage after the trade deadline, but he's scary to own because of those percentages and
yeah.
turnovers. No, so
He's been dropped. I
Osar,
mean, he's been dropped in a lot of leagues. Even
yeah,
after a good performance, people just drop him just because of the percentages.
he reminds me of Ivy last year. I mean,
I think
Ivy
he's
was
worse.
yeah, you could say it's worse, but I think what he gives you and what Ivy gave you last year may be the same. There will be good games where we see this potential. He's good. He's a good player. It's just that as a point guard in the NBA and a rookie, it's really the hardest thing to do. So it really takes a long, long time, a lot of reps, a lot of games, a lot of experience before he really, develops consistency. But the volume will be there. This is a tough question. If you ask me, I'd probably even go Osar. I still go Osar. Although Osar has to improve his shooting because he's not gonna get minutes if he doesn't take the outside shots. And when you watch their games, he's left open, and when they pass the ball to him, he doesn't take the shot, and the
Yeah.
offense will stall. And it frustrates Monty, it frustrates his teammates, but he's just maybe not confident with that shot. But Detroit, of course, after the All Star break, they will be completely into developing their young players. So I think Osar would get his role back, and just for the rebounds, just for the steals, just for the blocks, I think he's still valuable compared to those two.
Yeah, and we've seen the peak Osar
Yeah.
and we've seen the peak Scoot. Maybe we haven't, but there have been some good games, but we've seen the good games versus the good games of Osar. I think the good games of Osar far better than the good games of Scoot
you know,
or
you,
even Koulibaly.
the dynasty component of this. If this is dynasty and not rest of the season, Bilal Kolibali might be my answer here because he's really, really impressive for a young player as young as him who came over from France. He has games where you can see whoa, but then he has games where it's just you know not there. So it's inconsistency, but he's very young, so it's expected.
Yeah. All right. Not much questions left. I guess that's it. Anything else for the week?
Well, we've talked about the trades already. Injuries, I think the people who are coming back. We've talked about Ben Simmons, so I think we've covered it mostly. Kristaps got injured today. Um, but I think he's it's just a minor injury. Right now, I think we're into the trade deadline mode.
Yeah.
No, stash. Some people may be asking who are the players to stash for the trade deadline, and the usual suspects, I guess, because I think the players that are most rumored to be traded, let's say the Jonte, the Austin Reeves. I don't really know who benefits with the Jonte trade. Maybe the Sadiq Bey, maybe a little bit of DeAndre Hunter, maybe although he's injured. But if you're really stash, maybe those players could be players you stash. Also for Chicago, maybe Ayo Dosunmu,
Mhm.
Pat Williams in case Lavine gets traded.
No,
So
but in case Levine gets traded, these players are already owned. I don't think my
no,
guess is
Ayo's
Levine might not
available.
play until the trade deadline. He might
Yes,
not play
yes,
until the trade deadline.
that's true. But Ayo's been up and down, has been dropped and added and dropped because of the bad schedule of the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, but if
So
Levine gets traded, he's probably going to be up and down still.
I think he can find consistency in 14 team. I think in 14 team he'll be okay. Standards maybe not, but 14 team I think he'll be okay there. No, so Pat will be the player who'll probably be up and down, but I think for the most part Ayo can get you decent stats, especially in deep leagues. We're talking deep leagues. No? If you're really talking stash kind of situation, Pods, Podziemski
Yeah,
is one player. I'm assuming Kuminga is already owned in your
yeah.
leagues. No, I'm assuming that he's already owned. So if he's not, he's certainly the guy you have to own. But Podziemski really is a guy that I think if they trade Wiggins, I think he can get into the rotation and do some damage. No, so not very obvious stash candidates this year, but there are some.
And there are less few players as well from the FA pool that are really enticing to pick up, just or to stash from the because of the trade deadline. There's
Actually
not a lot
Bilal.
of rumors.
Yeah, I think Bilal. It's funny because you think Kuzma is a player who's very popular among contenders. If Kuzma gets traded, of course we know Avdiha is already owned, but Bilal could get into the starting five and get a bigger usage. Do not I don't think his minutes will change because he's getting a lot of minutes already. But the usage, the role, I think that
Yeah.
might change. And I think Bilal could be compared to Osar, no? He might get there earlier, but I think Osar's peak is higher. That's why a while ago we answered Osar. But stash wise, I think Bilal is a player you can stash also. Kolibali. Yeah.
Um, last few, GG.
Oh, of course, Memphis. GG Jackson. He's another stash player for the trade deadline. I'm holding because Aldama is. I'm not sure about the condition of Aldama. Whenever an Aldama or a Giant Jackson or even a Conchar or whoever in the starting five in the 3, 4, 5 positions are out, one just need one. I think GG will be okay to own. No, so but if they're healthy, then he's a sorry a drop. No, but
All right.
Aldama is not that
JD from YouTube uh,
Bilao.
said it's pronounced as Bilal in French. All right.
Bilao
So
or Bilao?
Bilal. I think it's Bilal. Bilal. Bilal.
Bilao.
It's
Okay,
like a
Bilao
silent O,
Kalibali.
I think.
Bilao Kalibali. There.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Shaden
sorry.
Sharp. Is Shaden Sharp a hold?
I'm way down on Shayton Sharp. I know maybe if it's a 16 team league, yeah, hold. But standards, sorry, I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan of Shayton Sharp. He's
Or,
he's worse than MPJ when MPJ was one dimensional player. He's really scoring. That's all. Just really scoring. So
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. Not much more. And plus, we have like 1 hour, more than an hour here. Yeah, hope this helped, guys. We'll try to do more. We've had a 2 week break, so hopefully next week we'll be able to do another one. But yeah, as always, follow us. Where's our banners? Follow us on Twitter, link there. at FBW underscore podcast and at FBW underscore com underscore Eric. And then, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fantasy Benchwarmers, and our Facebook page. Follow us. That's it. Good night, guys. Have a good weekend and hope to see you guys again next week. Bye.